everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Cavanaugh's Corner. Today on the show, I'm going to be doing my review for Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, which just came out yesterday. I should say last night. I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on the movie, rating for it, and just also talking about some other things that I wanted to talk about as of late. First of all, I wanted to mention to you that if you have seen any of my movie reviews before, you'll know that I do not spoil anything in the review, so I do not go into extreme details about any of the films that I review. I really think that if you are going to watch a movie review, you should not have the movie spoiled for you in any way, shape, or form. So I'll give you a very kind of open plot synopsis, not really dig into very much details in the movie, and I'll try not to spoil anything. Because honestly, there's a plot point of Jurassic World that if I go into it, it will spoil it for you. So I'm not going to do that for this review. And also, a little forewarning here. If you have a subscription to Entertainment Weekly for some reason or not, I do. I actually won it online in a contest. And they had this article a while back that is like a summer movie preview, and it's got Chris Pratt and everything on it. And shame on you, Entertainment Weekly, for publishing the article that's in this about Jurassic World. This came out, I want to say, end of April, beginning of May, and it's a big double issue. And they basically spoiled the entire movie in this article. And it is a terrible, terrible piece of journalism, and it's garbage. It's total garbage. And shame on Entertainment Weekly for publishing it, because honestly, my enjoyment of the film, which I was very excited for this film when they announced it, because I actually like Jurassic World very much so, and they published this piece of shit, and it really does spoil most of the film. It spoils the entire second half. The big twist that happens midway through the movie spoils that, and it also spoils a new creature, and it's right on the front cover. So, but if you have read that article, I'm sorry, and I'll try not to blow it like Entertainment Weekly did in that article. Now that I've got that bitching and moaning out of the way, I figured I'll talk to you about Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is not your father's Jurassic Park movie. This is unlike any of the other entries in the series thus far. It really is a major, major departure for the Jurassic Park series. I cannot tell you why, because again, it would spoil the movie, but I will say it is very much not a normal Jurassic Park film. There are tropes of the Jurassic Park films that this movie follows at the beginning of the film, and as the movie rolls on, there's certain things. Of course, you got dinosaurs, you got people running away from dinosaurs, you have some suspense and stuff like that, but really, there's some really intense stuff in this movie. I'll talk more about it later, but this is a very, very different film, and I think the fact that they were going for something completely different with this film is, I think it's commendable, but it's also going to throw a lot of people off. And this movie is going to be very divisive, very much like the overall plot of like Avengers Infinity War was, and also very much like the Last Jedi, the last Star Wars film, the last, canonical Star Wars film. It's really meant to throw you in terms of expectations, and it did. It did for me. I still enjoyed it in ways, and I did not enjoy it in other ways, and again, I'll go into detail as the review goes on. It basically follows the events of Jurassic World, in which, if you have seen Jurassic World, you know what happened in that film. Again, I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but the park was not a success, and it was for a little bit, and then the Indominus Rex was created and kind of wreaked havoc and broke down the park, and disaster ensued. And now it's about 4 years later, so as weirdly as that is, this movie came out in 2018, but actually takes place next year in 2019, which is very funny. But anyway, the park is gone, and the island, Isla Nublar, which is also where the original Jurassic Park took place, that island is now inhabited by a very big volcano, and the volcano on this island is now active, and it's going to blow. And all these dinosaurs, unless they are rescued, are going to die again. So they're going to have a re-extinction, as I like to call it. And Bryce Dallas Howard is the same character. She plays Claire, same character she played in Jurassic World. And she returns, and she is obviously no longer working for Jurassic World because that park is now gone. But she has funded this campaign to kind of save the dinosaurs from this extinction level event that's going to happen yet again on Isla Nublar. And the movie goes on, and she is basically brought on by a private venture that wants to save the dinosaurs even though the government does not. And her and this private business kind of join forces and kind of rope Chris Pratt into coming back and helping them save the velociraptor from the previous film named Blue that Chris Pratt trained. And he is brought on to kind of save her so they can bring her to this other place where they're going to save these dinosaurs. And of course, nothing really goes right. And the volcano erupts, as you can see in the trailers. Again, I'm not spoiling anything by saying that. But some craziness happens. And then the movie goes into its second half, which I'm not going to go into here, and which is why I was so upset by this article on here, and some other reviewers, honestly, because they have spoiled the giant twist that happens midway through the movie, which I'm not going to go into here. I'll give you my opinion of what happens, but I will not talk about it. And that second half is really what is going to split the audience in half, and it's really going to be a divisive moment for a lot of people. I think, going back to the actors of the film, I think the two leads, Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard, I think they still have a great sense of chemistry. They kind of have that like Bruce Willis, Sybil Shepherd, like moonlighting thing going on, which I think is great, and you don't see it very often. Sadly, the movie doesn't give them a lot of time to have their real chemistry show in this film, if you know what I'm saying. There's not a lot of great moments between them because the plot of the movie and what happens in the movie doesn't really allow for it, which is a shame because they really are two very good actors, and I think, their characters are very funny to watch, and their moments that they do share together are nice, but there's not enough of them there's not enough of their back and forth in this film. Their banter is there, but it's very limited. And it's mostly, in the moment kind of dialogue that doesn't really always work, honestly, in this film. But I still like them as actors, and they do the best that they can do what they were given with in this. There's another character that's also going to be a point of contention with a lot of people as a younger gentleman, and he's kind of like a hacker type character. And he's kind of brought on to be the nerd kind of character. And he's amusing, but the character can be very annoying. And I will say they had to bring him on in this film, I think, because Chris Pratt has to do kind of more serious stuff. He does have some funny moments because he is a very good comic actor, but he is mainly more serious. He does have one moment that involves a tranquilizer, which is absolutely the funniest thing in the movie, but they had to bring him on as like the fish out of water character because all the other characters in the film, besides one or two other characters, have been in the shit before. And this guy is just so not set up for these situations that it's kind of funny to see how he reacts, which is kind of neat. But again, it's really not always necessary. He's just kind of there to type on a computer and plug shit in and hack into systems and stuff, which is okay. But his character does get really annoying, and he has this very high-pitched scream that I could understand upon multiple viewings would become like ear-grating, just horrible. But again, he is meant to be just a comic relief, and I can understand why they brought him on, but he's not always necessary. So that's my opinion on that. As I mentioned earlier, the movie does have a wild change at the midway point. And it's at that moment where you're either going to love the movie or you're going to absolutely hate it. And honestly, I could understand if you'd hate it because it is unlike anything Jurassic Park has done before. It is a completely different film. at that midway point. And again, if you know what I'm talking about, you understand what I'm saying. But it's so wildly different. It's gonna shock people, and a lot of people are gonna be waiting for the movie to change again, and the change never comes. And it's very, 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 very different. Did I like it? Yes, I kind of did. I kind of liked the fact that it was a different environment, I should say. Again, I'm not going to go into detail here. I have to be very careful with my my choicing of words here. But if it wasn't so well done in certain ways, I probably would have hated it. I absolutely loved the fact that it was so well directed. J.A. Bayona, who did was the director of the film, I should say, is mainly a horror movie director. And I totally understand why they brought that man onto this film. He is a master of getting light and dark in the frame, getting shadows, using shadows and using like darkness in terms of adding suspense to a scene. He is a great director, and I will say it really shows in this film. The direction of the movie, honestly, I think is the best thing about it. No joke. The direction is damn near perfect in this film. I didn't see any point in the film where I was like, man, this movie looks bad. The whole movie looks absolutely fantastic. It is exceptionally shot. Again, I loved J.A. Bayona's direction in this film. It was just awesome. He just did an awesome job. And again, without going into detail, I understand why they brought on like a horror-type director for this film, because like I said, that second half really does need somebody who can handle horror-type suspense direction. And he was the man for the job. He was the man, and I'm so glad they brought him onto this project because he just did an awesome job. There are some extremely intense moments in the second half, I'd say, more so than the first half. The first half is kind of like your mainline, like Jurassic type movie with a volcano, and then that second half goes into this other realm. And it gets pretty intense. I gotta say, there were some moments where I was like, "Wow, okay, like, all right, I'm scared." Like, there was one moment that really got me, where I didn't know what was gonna happen, and it includes a new dinosaur that's introduced a little ways into the movie, and it's an interesting dinosaur, and I really like the design of it. I thought that the way they did the animation of the eyes, I thought was exceptional. And the dinosaur is creepy as hell. And honestly, I know this is crazy, but it's probably my favorite new dinosaur of all of the films. I really liked the Indominus Rex from Jurassic World. I thought that was a really interesting character because he was like the big bad guy of the film. This one here, he's more of like of an added villain that happens, but it was interesting in how they gave this dinosaur its own character. I felt that the Indominus Rex had a character, but it wasn't extremely well established. The Spinosaurus in Jurassic Park 3 is another one of these things where, like, you get a sense that he's big and mean, but you don't know what the hell it's thinking. The new dinosaur in this film, you really get an idea that it's there to kill. Like, it is the most extreme predator in the series, and I really like the fact that you got a sense of character out of it, and you could really tell that this thing was just pure evil. Like, I love the fact that they made this dinosaur just like pure 100% evil. I really like that. Another moment that I was very surprised of, there's a moment near the end of the first half that had people crying in the audience. And I can understand why. It's a very sad moment. My friend that I talked to after the film actually mentioned that they teared up a little in it. And I came pretty close. I'm going to be honest. It's a very sad moment. And again, I'm not going to spoil it for you here, but I will tell you, there's a couple moments in this movie where I was like, wow, I was emotionally moved by it, and I was not expecting that. The dinosaurs as a whole in the film, I thought were very well done. I actually thought they were much, much better than Jurassic World. I thought the animatronics, when they were being used in this, were outstanding. The CGI, yet again, is just mind-blowing in this. And overall, the dinosaurs were just awesome in this film. I love the dinosaurs, and I love the personality they gave to a few of the dinosaurs as well. I really liked seeing that because you made you care for them. Now I'm going to kind of get into the stuff I didn't like about the movie, and there's quite a lot, so bear with me here. The bad guys are laughably one-dimensional in this, and again, I'm not going to go into detail about the bad guys because, yet again, I'll spoil the movie for you, but the bad guys are like comic book characters in this. We're given no background on them. We're given very slight details here and there, but the bad guys are they're so badly written. They're terrible. They're just terrible, terrible characters. And honestly, that may be the weakest point of the film. Some of their decisions and their purpose is very, very much been there, done that. And honestly, it's really stupid. The reason that they're doing what they're doing is very stupid. And I hated the fact that they basically reused the plot point of the previous film in this, and it just felt very lazy. It felt like very lazy writing. Also, the plot in the film overall is very wafer thin. It's mainly just an excuse to do certain things in certain areas, which again is not great. I think it's still more of a plot than, like, for instance, Jurassic Park 3. But it's still kind of just here it is, there they go, and that's it. But there are certain points where I was like, why didn't they just do this? They could have just done that. Why did they do that? Why did they choose to do this? It has a lot of plot holes, and it's just, it's very lousy in terms of writing. There's basically no character development in the film, which is a shame. There is one moment that I thought was really nice between the two leads. And other than that, it's not great. It's not great in terms of character or plot or anything. It's just it's very lousy in that way. The plot itself is actually very similar to the film The Lost World, the second Jurassic Park film, which I actually really like. But you can kind of tell that they recycled some of that film, especially for the first half. The ending of the film. Yet again, I have to keep saying this, but I'm not going to go into details here, but the ending is going to be very, very divisive. Yet again, basically like the entire film will be, the ending is a giant lead-in to a third film in this series, I should say. I could say there's 3 Jurassic Park films, and there's going to be 3 Jurassic World films, and I got to say, I don't know where the hell they're going with this, which is cool, because I like movies that kind of keep you anxious for the next one, but I was kind of hoping for some kind of resolution to the film, and it never comes. And that is going to be another thing where you kind of get satisfaction in the ending, but overall it's a very giant lead-in to a third film, and that always is not the greatest satisfaction to a movie viewer. It's very slowly paced past that midway point. And the pace, I actually yawned quite a bit in the second half. Even though I liked what they were doing with it, it could have used a little trimming. The movie could be about 15, 20 minutes shorter, and it probably would have been a much more fast-paced film. I don't know what they would cut out, honestly, but it could have been just a little more briskly edited, and it would have been probably a slightly more enjoyable film, but the pacing is just really off in the second half, and again, that's going to be another point of contention for a lot of people. Overall, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is definitely not one of the better Jurassic Park films. I enjoyed it for what it was. I liked certain things about it. Like I said, the dinosaurs I thought were very, very well done. I thought the actors are still very good actors, even though they're not given much. The plot of the film is basically just a disaster. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was an enjoyable film. It kept me on edge. And it's not a bad movie. It's just not a great one. I'm going to give it kind of an interesting score. I'm going to give it a 2.75 out of 5. It's not great. It's not horrible, as some people are saying. But I do have to say that there are certain things in it that could have been done a lot better. Pacing was a big thing. The plot was, again, very, 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 very wafer thin. And the bad guys were just so badly written. But I enjoyed it as a whole. I just wouldn't, it wouldn't be one that I would revisit very often, but it is a Jurassic Park movie, and it has its moments that are pretty great, and I cannot wait to see where they're going with the next one, honestly. I don't know what they're going to do, but I'm looking forward to it. And as always, I'm Andrew Cavanaugh. Thank you for coming back to Cavanaugh's Corner. If you enjoyed this review, please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel. The channel is growing, and for everyone that did subscribe, I want to say thank you very, very much for doing so, and I'll catch you on the next one. That's so much for Jurassic June, as I'm calling it now, but stay tuned for more reviews of 4K films and other movie reviews in the future. Thank you again. Good night.